Welcome to the Free Play Arcade Podcast, presented by Book Club Coffee, their double clutch cold brew.
Hey guys, we're here in the Free Play Secret Lab today, recording a very, very special podcast. We're going to be talking about events at Free Play Arcade. First up, though, we got to talk about the air conditioning. We are in our actual operating warehouse. There are techs running around here all over the place. Things could get noisy, things could get rumbly, but we're going to do our best to work through it. So, first up, we just announced today the Halloween parties at both locations.
Woo!
We've never done this before. We're going to have a party on Friday, the Friday before Halloween, at our Arlington location. The very next day, we're going to have our party at the Richardson location. It's going to be insane. Richard, me, you, we're not sleeping. We're not sleeping for like the whole weekend. It's going to be insane.
We've got a lot of work to do.
Kind of getting used to that, actually.
Right, well, especially the Saturday-Sunday switch, it's insane.
All right, but is this party going to be as epic as last year's party? Because last year's party in Richardson alone was epic.
Well, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about kind of how we've got to the place where we are right now with our parties, because our parties have been featured in every major publication in Dallas. We've had all sorts of special coverage, and we kind of wanted to go back, do like a little retrospective on the parties that we've had up to this point. What's really, really cool is Chris experienced the parties, half of the parties.
I would say over half, yeah.
As a customer.
It's true.
And now he's an employee. So we're going to go back to the very, very beginning.
All right.
2015, fall. We're planning to open an arcade. Not only the first retro arcade in DFW, the first free play style arcade that serves alcohol in the country. It's never been done before. We're going to try it. We have to kind of test our games. So we come up with a concept called the beta test. The beta test, we sold a bunch of tickets to 2 different beta tests, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I remember those.
And then about a week before beta test, the city of Richardson said, no, there is no way we are going to host the beta test.
I can't hear that AC at all.
If you're on this podcast right now, that rumble that I was talking about before, that is the air conditioning. We are in an operating warehouse.
It sounds like static over the headphones, I think.
Well, this will be nice for people to fall asleep to later when we put this on iTunes or whatever the hell we're doing.
The gentle tones of Corey, Richard, and Chris.
There we go.
Keeping you asleep.
So we're going to talk
jazz.
So on the beta test, though, well, the city of Richardson, about a week before we were supposed to have the beta test, and if I recall correctly, we were going to have our first 2 beta tests in November. Like November 20th, 22nd, November. Something like that. And the city of Richardson said, no way. You have a couple more inspections, a couple more permits, so we had to consolidate them all down to December 2nd, I believe, which was the Thursday.
Yes, right before.
December 2nd, 2015. And which was kind of nice because originally we were going to have 40 people at the first beta test, 60 people at the second beta test, and then we realized we have a huge space. We should have at least 100 people to test our place out.
We've got to test ourselves because, these games hadn't been stress tested, not by a large group of people. Of course, we had turned them all on. We'd play them ourselves, but that's nothing compared to having, 140 people in playing 100 retro arcade games. They're breaking like crazy. But, we weren't 100% ready from a build perspective either. I remember some craziness going on there.
Well, so the best part, there's probably infinite stories from the beta test, but the best part about the actual beta test night was we had one restroom, no stalls in that restroom, and we had to have someone watching the people go in and out because we hadn't actually put our partitions up. Now, some people would blame our contractor, I don't know why that actually happened, but we had a CO. We were allowed to open, but we had to actually have a bathroom monitor because only one of our restrooms was ready.
I don't believe that code requires privacy.
It's true, it does not. Just requires a toilet that can flush.
Yeah, and
we had that. So that was nice. So Chris, though, this was way, way before we ever thought free play would become what it did.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just kind of started following Free Play on Facebook, right?
My intro to free play was from an Alamo Drafthouse event, Pixels, and then that caught me to the website because I heard there was an arcade opening right next to me, and I was super excited about that. So I followed the blog, and I read you had maybe 4 entries written at that point, and I just loved reading those blog posts. They were very open about your struggles with the city and trying to get an arcade open, and I thought it was incredibly endearing. The beta test tickets went on sale, and I was jumping at them to get them as quickly as I could, and I was the first person in line for that beta test, saving a spot for Sarah, who was not the second person, but then cut in line. And there were a lot of people there that I grew to know. I have grown to know over the years. I want to say Michael Beltran was there. I know Josh and Lauren Featherstone were there. Other repeat customers that have just been with
some
us
of our,
forever.
Like most hardcore supporters have
Right
been there
there.
since absolute day one.
Day zero, even.
It's day zero. We still had the paper covering the windows during the beta test, which was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, the craft paper. I have a picture of me in front of the craft paper, and man, I was just so excited for those doors to open that first time.
Yeah, we had like glass markers written that said Retro Arcade coming soon. Our sign wasn't going to be delivered for 2 more weeks because we had issues with our sign permits and our sign company. I mean, everything was going crazy, and we had to do something. So we had to do this beta test, and we had people just in line way past, like, down to Harbor Freight.
Yeah, that was behind me. That was behind me.
You were number one. You were number one
I
in
was
line.
sitting there.
I don't know. We were running around trying to get everything done and then acting as bartenders, so...
Right, we had like 3 employees at the time.
Right.
We had no idea what to expect.
Well, because we thought Richard and I were going to work the whole time, because we started the company and we just thought we'll do 40 hours working behind the bar, whatever it takes, cooking food or everything. And
yeah, we need like 3 employees,
Right.
and we'll be good. This is going to be a small thing, so...
Of course, less than 2 years later, we have more than 40 employees, 2 locations. It's been a crazy ride, but yeah, at the time, we were all... I mean, Richard was TABC certified. He got it just so that for opening night, he was going to jump behind the bar. He jumped behind the bar. Everyone jumped behind the bar. My mom, who was helping us design the menu, ended up jumping behind the bar, which that's actually a good point for the beta test. That was the first night we'd ever cooked food for anyone.
Yeah, we did no prep.
No matter how many times you cook in your kitchen, you're never prepared for cooking food for a commercial audience, having to meet their expectations, making sure the food tastes good. And I mean, fortunately, Free Play has gone on to receive a number of awards for our menu, for our food, and I think some of our food is probably the best arcade food that I've ever had. I eat it regularly just for like quality control, but that first night was so intense, so scary, because I thought for sure that was going to be where we fell short in the kitchen. Like,
really?
Did you have any of the food on the beta test?
I want to say I had a Cuban, but I've had so many different menu items over the years that I'm not completely sure. But I think we did. I know Sarah had some of the bar fare, but I know I did not visit the paper restroom or whatever we had going.
Well, no, there was a monitor who had to let you come in after the other person left, because we seriously had... All of our plumbing was done, all of our toilets were in, but the partitions came in, I think, the following day around noon.
So we had no partitions. Them after the party.
All right, so if we're talking about the beta test, one thing we have to talk about, and it's a little embarrassing, it's Alamo Drafthouse going all out to give us our own theater, showing one of my favorite... It was War Games, right?
War Games.
War Games, which is probably my favorite 80s movie, just for us. Showing it that night. We didn't really hear back from Alamo that they were going to do it until the last second, and they told us, "Hey, you have your own theater, no charge. No one has to pay anything to come see War Games. Bring everyone." So we announced it, and unfortunately, I don't think any of our employees made it.
We were so tired.
Retroactively.
We had been up for 42 hours, some nonsense like that.
Well,
we didn't...
Preceding our beta test, I mean, we had been working trying to finish out all the details and all of the things that you don't think about when starting an endeavor like this. Simple issues like ordering our stock and making sure that it was all cold and in place. We had tried to have that done, but when our delivery showed up, it was much later than we had expected, much later than we had scheduled, so we had been working trying to make sure that everything was cold for people. We were working to make sure that the facilities were finished and that we had solutions
they weren't
to
finished, but we were as close as possible.
And I look at where we are now from where we were then.
Well, and what's really amazing, we have here tonight one of two people who attended that extremely incredible gesture from Alamo Drafthouse, the amazing showing, a whole theater, just for free play, showing war games. How did that show go, Chris?
It was one of the most fun and surreal experiences of my life, as me and Sarah, my best friend, were just sitting there in a theater, not completely alone. We actually had 3 Alamo servers to tend to both of our needs. We watched every single second of war games. At one point, we did tell one of the Alamo waitresses she's okay if she wants to split. We're good on our alcohols right at that moment. We watched the whole movie, and we were even interrupted by a random French cartoon coming on. We watched that and giggled. It was a surreal experience on top of an incredible beta test night where, I mean, it just set the stage for things to come, where we had this incredible arcade with all these amazing new games. Our minds were just blown by everything we had seen. We saw you guys working on the machines on the fly, saw you behind the bar. Everything that was on our mind at the time, which was, I walked in and it was an 80s arcade, clearly. And then my thought was, well, I remember my 80s arcade had music going. So I think I asked you about the music, and you were like, yeah, our speakers are coming in tomorrow. And
I think that's actually
I forgot that
true.
we didn't have music for the beta
Correct.
test.
Yeah. No beta test music.
We hooked up our first 2 or 4 speakers the next day.
Yes.
And now we have 10 or
32.
But
yeah,
32 speakers in free play now.
Yeah, now we have 32 speakers because over the next year, and we're going to talk about it coming up, I proceeded to blow out every single system that Richard installed, because if I could go louder, if I could make it more intense, I just kept going. And now, fortunately, with 32 speakers, I can get loud enough. And
we could have gone with better speakers, but
it's a complicated dilemma, because you can kind of point, when you have 32 speakers, you can point them exactly where you want, versus when you have like 4 or 8 really nice speakers, it can be really loud, it can be really intense, but it's not pointed into the coves and the corners that you really want to, while still avoiding the dining area.
Yep.
But we'll get to all the speaker nonsense next. So, you watched War Games, y'all had some food, it was amazing.
It was amazing. It was amazing, and it was one of those experiences I can't imagine ever repeating. I mean, we had a whole theater to ourselves.
Yeah, the most awkward conversation I've probably had in my entire life.
We were there.
Which I've had plenty as an attorney and everything. Was the next day when our contact at Alamo came to me and he was like, "Man, how awesome was that?" And I was like, "It was awesome."
Was it James? Because I'll tell him. It was awesome.
It was. And
James is my hero.
He was just like, I heard there weren't too many people there. I was like, I wasn't there. And he was like, no. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
That was the most surreal.
It was amazing.
It was a beta test, so I figured to, and plus, my first interaction with a free play employee was Chase, bar manager Chase, coming to me and telling me, we're not going to open for another hour and a half. You don't have to be here if you don't want to. I'm like, no, I'm good. And then my second was him coming out and saying, by the way, there's going to be a free showing of War Games. And I'm texting Sarah. I'm like, sweet, we get a free showing at Alamo, too. Because at this point, we heard about you through Alamo. We definitely were not there to watch Pixels, but we were there in the building when all that happened. So we were familiar with that establishment. And then to get at that free trip, and then to have be all by ourselves, and then to have like all the employees be too tuckered out to make it, it just was so amazing.
Well, no, I remember right after the beta test, looking over at the big wall of couches we have at Free Play Richardson, and just seeing Mike, Chase, all of our day one employees were still there, just done. They were laying down, just absolutely ready for the day to be over. And we had the very next day our grand opening coming up. All the same employees had to be there to work the grand opening, and everyone just kind of looked at each other and said, no, I'm going home to sleep. Because all of us had put in these incredibly long shifts. And then we got to the grand opening, which was the next day, a Friday. And our kind of like theory behind the grand opening was going to be, we want to show anyone who wants to come the free play experience if you're coming for a private event. So we had the kitchen whip up our entire catering menu, which is charcuterie, crudité, like amazing spread. The tickets were pretty expensive.
Yeah.
We sold out. I think at the time we were still like, if there's 100 people in the arcade, it's going to be too crazy.
Oh,
so
very
we sold
much.
like 100 tickets, which now we're at 220, 230, and then we're like, all right, it's too much.
Yeah.
But at the time, we thought we want to show them a great night. We had a champagne toast, all sorts of stuff. The greatest thing ever, our partition showed up that morning about 3 p.m. I walked in, our contractor was just now finally starting installing the partitions, so we had another delay, another bathroom monitor, trying to as we put up the partitions in the other restroom so that we could switch over. And then, is that the night that we had the huge clog?
Yes, that was the toilet incident. So, in the middle of all of this, the partitions are going up. We're having all of these things where we're shuffling people from one restroom to
this
another.
Is like 20 minutes before our grand opening.
Oh yes, we've got a line at the door. I mean, people are dressed up in suits and ties. We've got women in fancy dresses, and our toilet is overflowing, and we can't get it to stop.
No, I mean, it's overflowing out the back of our space. Like, and I mean, at this point, it's just water, but it's a lot of water rushing out the back of our building, and we don't know what to do. And we've got Richard, and I say, Richard, go find some sort of like auger or whatever you use to unclog a drain. And so Richard starts driving. We've got one there that we're already trying to work on. And like, I think probably 2 minutes before the grand opening, 4 minutes after the grand opening, I don't remember.
Well, we had delayed the entrance. We were
That's
like,
true.
oh, guys, it's going to be like 15 more minutes. We're almost there. Please stand by. And people were like, oh, not a problem.
Right when people were supposed to come in, whenever we delayed it to that point. But we broke the clog. Everything was okay. We had some partitions up. We were able, we had the men's restroom ready. So we were able to get people in the men's restroom while our contractor ran at like 7 or 8 p.m. to put up the partitions in the women's, which we got one up, and then we were done with the women's for that night.
For the night.
And we got the women's in. I mean, all the games were there. And in fact, what's really interesting is between the beta test and the grand opening, we put 14 new games out that day. I remember that vividly because we only had like 52, 56 games for the beta test.
Yeah.
We were pushing 70 then. At the grand opening, and now we've got nearly 100. But
Yeah, I think that was the stated reason for the delay. This is the first time I'm hearing the clog story, but
I
I think the
that
extra
was,
games.
We weren't really
And-
trying to publicize that.
Right, well,
you
until
you
now,
guys
since
are all insane with all of your classic games and your commitment to everything. So, as a customer, for the first time hearing, we're adding 14 new games overnight, and we've never been open before, I understood a delay.
No, and it was an entirely full truckload of games that we had never put out.
Yep.
We got them off. We'd done some work on them before, but we were rushing to get them ready, rushing and everything. And our contractors, in the meantime, have like 10 people on site, all running around trying to work and finish. And then, we had our grand opening. The food was amazing.
was well reviewed.
That moment, I knew we were going to crush like big corporate events, all sorts of stuff, because that spread was just perfect. And that was the first time we ever served an Elvis, which is the peanut butter.
I was going to ask about the Elvis.
What is it? Peanut butter banana.
mascarpone
On a Texas toast, pressed.
with Nutella too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we served that night. And sometimes we'll crisp up some bacon, kind of put some crumbles on there. It's amazing.
Oh, it's
everything
delicious.
we did that night was better than the beta test night. So I just assumed, man, we're going like through, this is the greatest arcade ever. Like that moment, I knew it was going to be amazing. And then we opened. I remember the next day we opened Saturday at 11 a.m. And there was a line out the door.
Yep. Here's Chris again.
Were you there? Were you there on Saturday? The
Yeah,
next
I wasn't
day?
there for the party. I was there
For the grand.
that
You weren't there
Saturday.
for the grand opening, but the
Yeah.
following Saturday you
Yeah.
came back.
Yeah, you
played the new
You weren't going
games.
to get rid of me.
Well, I'm really interested because, Chris, you've got a really unusual perspective here. You came to the beta test event.
Right.
You came day one that we were open to the public. But how long did it take for free play to go from where we were when we started? I mean, from our perspective, we were running around like we were crazy the entire time, trying to make sure all the details were taken care of and that people were having a good time. How long did it take before we got more towards the point that we're at now as far as we run?
It's always evolving, of course. I remember, the music came in early. It was there by Saturday. I remember there was a monitor issue on Gauntlet Dark Legacy, and that was done in the first week. And that was sort of like a milestone for me personally, where I knew this isn't just going to be another arcade. This is going to be an arcade where they're going to take care of their stuff. You kept adding games, and then it wasn't until NBA Hang Time that nobody played got its diagonals fixed in like the second week of January, when I knew, like, not only are they committed to taking care of their machines, they're just unbelievably militant about it and will not rest until everything is fixed. And that was it. And I think I posted, you can look at my review for Free Play Richardson and know exactly what day that was. But it was in around mid-January, and I started the community group like a week or two later.
Well, and I remember, so we had our beta test, we had our grand opening, we opened, and things were good. We were like, nice, this is amazing. We can't believe it. And then, like, 2 days later, it hits us. New Year's is coming very fast, because our official open date was December 5th. And then I think probably around December 10th, we were like, uh-oh, we have to, like, do something for New Year's.
What are we going to do?
And we'd sold out our beta test. We'd sold out our grand opening. We were really proud of that. But honestly, we'd sold kind of limited tickets because we didn't know how many people we could fit. So we were like, we have to throw a New Year's party. We know we can fit 200 plus people in this place now. And so we announced it, and it was an early party for us.
It was very early, and I believe we capped that one at 120 tickets that we sold for that first New Year's.
That sounds
so it was still
about
pretty
right.
low.
And then I think we sold a few at the door. But yeah, I think we ended up with about 140, 150 people at that New Year's party. And we had some high score challenges. We had a champagne toast included with it, which I did end up pouring some Miller High Life into some champagne glasses, arguing that it was the champagne of beer because we couldn't open champagne bottles fast enough.
I have some community members that would agree with you.
And in the New Year's haze, I was like, I can fix this. So I started pouring Miller High Life.
Learned to start pouring a little bit sooner. So
yeah, so the next time we needed champagne, we had it down and we were good. But it turns out when you have 120 people that have all bought tickets to get free champagne, they're all going to want their free champagne. So pouring 120 servings of champagne takes a little bit of time.
It takes more than 10 minutes.
You'd be surprised, yeah.
I had no idea.
So, but the coolest thing about the New Year's, our very first New Year's 2015 party, I think, was probably the custom music video montage. And my favorite part about it was we had the 1985 Dick Clark New Year's countdown that then was interrupted by the famous Chicago Max Headroom hacking in the middle of the countdown, and then it caught back up, it resynced, we had the countdown, we played We Are the World. It was amazing, but like that split second when everyone in the arcade, all 120 or 130 people, were super confused because they saw Max Headroom taking over the big screen. Which we hung up just for that event.
Oh, yes.
We hung up that projector just for the New Year's event, and we had no idea. We were just like, we have to have a party. It's sold out. We were so excited.
Well, we've got to show the countdown.
Right.
You got to do something.
So I built a huge music video montage that synced up the Dick Clark countdown with the Max Headroom hacking with the actual Midnight New Year's in 2015. Even though we were showing the 1985 segments, that was my favorite part. That was really cool, and we thought for sure we were at the top of the party world at that point. That
was the moment that defined what a free play moment, or what a free play party was going to be.
And it was really cool because we had a couple reporters there. They all wrote little blurbs about it or gave, and we were like, wow, we never expected. And this was less than a month after we opened, so we were like, we never expected this kind of attention. Of course, as we kind of worked through the next year, through 2016, we kind of saw just how big this could become. And we're going to skip over a few events. We're going to skip over the spring tournament series. We're going to go and we're going to talk about Halloween, which we just announced, Halloween 2017. Woo. We're going to skip ahead to Halloween 2016 in our narrative here. That was, I think, probably the first time we were considered one of the top party destinations in DFW. For the event, leading up to the event, we had 4 new game releases, all Halloween themed. House of the Dead 3, Nightmare in the Dark, Vampire Savior. One game that actually broke the day released it, which we will not release the name of because we're still trying to fix it since then. And then we had a day of the party release, Skycurser. Skycurser's kind of come to be like, not only is it the only new game we've ever released to the arcade, it's kind of come to define like what we're looking for in future arcade games. And I think we've been a great Skycurser destination. We've had a lot of players come in there. I think the world record was at our place for a few days before it went back to Europe, back to New York and everything.
I think it's currently in Japan, but I haven't checked up on it this week.
It will be at Free Play soon.
Updates.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. They've been actively developing it. When we released Skycurser, it was a prototype game. We were a prototype location. They put us on the website as, come test out this new game.
Unfinished.
Which, of course, Skycurser, if you don't know, has a ton of, like, I don't even know how to describe the bad guys, but they're pretty horrific. It was very in theme for Halloween.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of biomechanical slash, I don't know, there's metal everywhere, everything's a giant eyeball, there's blood everywhere in that game. It is
tons of blood.
Possibly the goriest 16-bit-esque graphics game that you could imagine, but it's such
beautiful.
A fun shoot 'em up.
Absolutely
It is gorgeous. The artwork is only overshadowed by the incredible music in that game. It's phenomenal. They have truly made a late 80s, early 90s shoot 'em up experience in 2015, 16, 17, whatever their release window / actual release counts as. I think it's April 2017 is their official release.
And if you haven't played the game, you can play Skycurser right now at Free Play Richardson, where it's on the floor.
Well, and we just received not only is it the current version, but a custom update to make sure our game in particular is running stable, is giving you everything you could possibly want out of a shmup Skycurser style game, which I think they're kind of falling to their own genre at this point.
Yeah.
Because they keep
absolutely.
Expanding, they keep growing the game. It's amazing.
Well, we have a special relationship with them, not only because you were on the alpha build, but as from the outside, when we were running our community group challenges, when I was not employed, I reached out to the developers of Skycurser and told them, look, this is what I do. We're having a monthly high score challenge on your game because, we've never had a new game at Free Play before to do this on. And I was basically asking them, can you send us a poster, an autograph, a discarded letterhead or something? I'll give it away as part of our non-prize pack for the monthly challenge. And they were so enthralled by the community group and our support of Skycurser. They had us a custom-built Skycurser trophy, which we still pass back and forth like the Stanley Cup. They gave us $20 in gift card and pizza gift cards, which we still do every month for a random game, which, we're back full circle to Skycurser right now. And also because we developed this relationship, all the members of the Skycurser team join the group. Whenever there's an issue with the game, they deal with it with us first. We have the latest update. They push specific updates for us. It's really cool to get that kind of back and forth with the developer.
And as I was saying earlier, it is so important that the world record comes home.
I agree.
To Free Play.
I agree.
Even if I have to do it myself.
If anyone out there is chasing Hall of Fame points, I have a standing bounty that I'm doubling everybody's monthly Hall of Fame total if anybody gets the world record in Free Play.
And I can't announce anything right now because I have to talk about it because I just thought of it. But we need to really figure out the best way. I don't care if people have to fly in to do it on our machine. I want the world record at Free Play, so we gotta figure that out. But we're actually talking about the Halloween party in 2016.
Oh,
when we
yes.
released Skycurser, were you at that Halloween party?
I absolutely was.
All right, so
and some of my clothes were.
What? Okay, let's go. I guess we need to go ahead and address
that.
Who did you go as? What was your Halloween costume for the 2016 Free
Because
Play?
I was in the Halloween spirit. I was very much enjoying Ghosts and Goblins the entire month of October. That was our monthly game that month. And so I appeared as Arthur, the main character from Ghosts and Goblins.
Wow, so you were wearing like a full suit of armor? That's crazy.
Well, I couldn't afford the full suit of armor, so I actually went after he takes one single hit in that game, and he's down to just his white boxers with red hearts, giant beard, and a lance. That's all I had, except that really didn't meet all the requirements for non-nudity at the free play party, so I had a pair of flesh-colored flip-flops to go with it.
I do remember the email when you had to clarify whether or not you needed shoes.
You did mention a no nudity policy in that post. Did you have any inkling that a man would would be messaging you about clarification on that?
I honestly didn't think anyone would, but I guess it kind of.
I mean, there's a lot of camies out there that are pushing boundaries and getting ESPN to kill games mid esports event.
Nice.
But
that was fun to have someone running around in their boxers in my arcade. That was amazing.
All in theme with the event. I mean, we had a video game inspired costume. We had several video game inspired costumes.
This is what happened to me. I'm in line as Arthur, and a lot of people are just like, "Why is he naked at this event?"
It was pretty cold that day too.
Right. It was. And Satan comes up to me and is like, "This is awesome. This is an amazing costume." And I'm like, "You're Satan. Let's skip Skycurser for just this moment and go right to Ghosts and Goblins." And I played a game one-on-one of Ghosts and Goblins as Arthur with Satan. Arthur won, which is one of the only times you'll ever see Arthur actually win at Ghosts and Goblins.
Side point, but I have actually seen Arthur win thanks to Chris Delpierre, who has completed that game, which is extremely impressive.
I believe we will have a second before the month is over.
Fantastic. I look forward to seeing that.
I'm not sure, but I think so.
All right, so we're still talking about the Halloween party from 2016. Let's go through the actual details of the party. I have the whole thing written here. I want to talk about, guys. Come on. Let's stop talking about Chris and his boxers. Separate
podcast.
Halloween 2016 was the very first time we ever had paid performers come to free play. We hired a street magician, which of course, the way we found the street magician, which is probably not the best way. We just Google searched Street Magic Dallas or Street Magic DFW. And he was pretty amazing. He was great. We also had a freak show performer, which, I kind of thought with all the free play employees we had, we'd just come up with a freak show performer or they'd be best friends with one. No. We had to find someone we hired. Also really, really cool. But it was really interesting planning this party because we had to think, how can we make an interesting experience? We know there's going to be 200 people, 220 people. We know they've all probably played all of the arcade games. So we had to, go farther than what we've done before. And so the first thing we thought of was some sort of performance. We couldn't really do a stage, which we'll talk about soon, but we couldn't yet do a stage. So we hired these kind of roaming performers, which I think were really well received.
I think so. I think that it was a lot of fun to have people specifically there for our guests to interact with. And, I think when you go to an arcade, you don't expect to have someone just approach you and say, "Hey, you want to see a magic trick? Do you want to see something cool?" And I think it really contributed to the environment. But
the man in boxers was not mentioning those phrases. No.
Did you
magic tricks from
Chris? Did you happen to see any of the performers do their thing?
I did not. I was too busy with Satan.
Well, yeah, you were probably playing Ghosts and Goblins for an hour. So we had the performers show up at that Halloween party 2016. We also had, for the first time ever, our horror montage.
Oh yes.
And this is actually it's a challenge because we're a commercial business. We have to find stuff that we can show on Halloween that is license free. And then if you actually go search, you'll see all sorts of interesting videos. So I had to watch all these terrible, terrible horror films to try to find what was appropriate, what would work. And honestly, since it was a 21 plus party, this was also our first 21 plus party, I think.
I think so.
Was New Year's the year before 21 plus?
No, it was not 21 up, but we did still kick everyone who was under 21 out at 9, so
it was pretty much 21 plus, but
7 to 9 o'clock,
There you go.
Get your money's worth.
But so for the horror montage, I found all these unlicensed stuff, which is, I think Night of the Living Dead is actually unlicensed.
Correct.
I think it's one of those silly things where they were supposed to file the copyright and no one actually filed it.
Yeah, they messed it up. That's why.
And so we could show that, and there was some British horror films, but all I did was watch, and anything that was super gory, because we weren't really going to have sound for the movies, because we're going to be playing the cool 80s like videos, Thriller, all of that stuff, all of the music videos that really go to Halloween in the 80s. In the middle of it, we had, I believe we had some 80s like commercials, Halloween commercials.
Absolutely.
Like the M&Ms, the Reese's Pieces Halloween commercials. Those were awesome. And we decorated the whole place, right? Not only did we decorate the place, we changed every single light bulb. And if you've ever been to Free Play Richardson, we probably have, 100 light bulbs?
Something like that.
Hanging from the ceiling. We turned them all red LED bulbs.
Well, we were really trying to capture that, Dante's Inferno
Right.
Vibe. And so it's in the movie Arcade. They have this...
That is a terrible movie,
It's a terrible movie.
It's the worst movie ever.
It is.
But
For
they
some
go
reason,
into the
I've seen
scene,
it as well.
and before they release the game Arcade, you walk in and it's this dark lit scene. There are red lights everywhere. There's fog.
Smoke machine.
Everyone's just walking through, and you're like, "What kind of an arcade is this?" And we wanted to create that effect, so of course
we probably just recently watched Arcade, and I think we made all of our employees watch that terrible.
We watched
movie.
it during lunch one day.
And so you walk into this arcade. It was called Dante's Inferno, and there's smoke everywhere. Which, if you know how to create smoke in like a movie, you don't want that water vapor anywhere near your retro arcades. But we wanted to recreate it, so we actually got a ton of smoke machines. We got a ton of fog machines. We filled the place up with fog and smoke. We put all the red lights on, and it worked. It was awesome.
We were really concerned because we didn't actually test the red lights before we put them in, and when we did, we thought, oh no, it's going to be way too dark. But as night came, it really worked.
Well, yeah, you're not going to play your best pinball game ever.
Oh, no.
Under these red lights. It is pretty dark, but for like Halloween, when you've got all these people in these ridiculous costumes, and we had our first ever costume contest.
Oh, yes.
During that event, which I made Richard host because I was like, this is too intense. I can't handle all this. Because I expected like very few people to show up in costume, and then I expected no one to be in good costumes. And then we probably had 100 people show up in really awesome costumes.
And
That is my
40-something
memory.
people enter the costume contest. And
Right, yeah, we had groups that were
of course, we had
amazing.
no space plan for this. We were like, we'll just do it in front of the bar. And
Yeah, we seriously thought there'd just be a few people that would come in good costumes. They'd enter the costume contest. One would win. It was a madhouse, and Richard had to judge. I can't even remember.
No,
I remember
we made Orlando judge.
No, really?
He just started.
Oh, no, we made
his
Orlando.
fault.
We narrowed it down to like 3 people or 3 groups or whatever, and the crowds were just clapping for everyone. So we were like, "Hey, Orlando, you get to choose."
So Orlando, who had started probably 2 weeks before that, had to judge in front of, and we sold full out tickets.
Oh, yeah. We had 200 people.
Yeah, 200 plus people show up, 250 tickets sold. And Orlando's there judging a costume contest with, what was, I remember some of the costumes. Who won? Does anyone even remember?
Beetlejuice party of about 4.
Oh, man. And they
so
had
the full stretchy mask.
Oh, my gosh.
They had,
they were amazing.
They had a Beetlejuice. They had a whole act to go with it.
It was the Beetlejuice costumes when they go to like the afterworld, right? And they stretch their thing
Yes.
out or whatever.
Yes.
They learn how to do it. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they were amazing.
They had that. They had there was a Bob Ross with a happy little tree.
That was amazing.
Nice couple's costume for anyone who's planning for this year.
I cannot remember who got third. I do remember Jason Palmer's infamous Billy Mitchell costume.
Amazing.
He nailed it.
It's perfect.
He was walking around with hot sauce, giving it out. It was awesome.
Yeah, he had his tape in the envelope. About 15% of the people in the building understood what he was.
Right. Yeah,
But
that
the
was.
15% were just stunned.
And we also, at that event, we had Dallas Observer photographers. We had a Central Track photographer. It was, really, really cool because we were starting to realize that people are going to come here. They're going to have a ton of fun. And they're going to party. Not just enjoy the arcade games, which is our main focus. But they're just going to party. It was so cool. And I think that was when we realized it was going to happen over and over and over. This, our New Year's wasn't a fluke. Halloween, here we go. And then we were going to come right up. As soon as we finished Halloween, we had to announce our 1-year anniversary. It was coming early December. We had opened the 5th of it
December
officially.
5th, yeah.
The 3rd was the beta test. The 4th was the grand opening party, which was a private party. And I believe our 1-year party was on the 4th. I don't know for sure. It was whatever was it a Saturday? Do you remember?
I do not remember.
We
I want to say so, yeah.
We sold tickets. This was our 1-year anniversary. And we sold a limited amount of tickets because we wanted to have all of our employees able to kind of enjoy themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
And so we had our very first ever live band. So I want you to tell me a little bit about what it took when I said I want a live band for you to act, because you made it happen, what you did to get the live band in there.
Okay, so Corey comes to us with the idea, and he says, live band, and we're sitting here going, okay, well, we don't have power where he wants to put the band, we don't have a stage, we don't have a sound system, we don't have anything that we need to make this happen. But if you know Corey is very insistent on things, and so we figured it out. So over, a couple of days, I built a stage in my garage that we installed the day before the event. We had contacted great band. We had been to Texas Theater, and we'd seen an event where this band called Calling Jack Burton had played. And so we invited them out, and of course they were fantastic. They came out to perform for us that year. But we needed a sound setup, so I had a friend who does audio production and different things. We got him out with a full sound rig that we hooked up on the stage, so maximum bass. I mean, the system was overkill for our space. We could have had a concert to play the parking lot.
And we pulled power from every
we ran
single
extension
extra
cords
outlet to get that enough to really to pop.
Well, just to make sure that we weren't blowing breakers or things during the event.
Which is important in an arcade. We have a bunch of arcades running on power.
Making sure it all balances. But ultimately, it came out really great. I mean, we got some fabric from Joann's and draped the stage and just made everything look actually surprisingly professional for a last-minute
People thought we rented the stage. They thought that, we'd hired a bunch of people to come in and do it all, and that was all mostly in-house except for the actual speakers and stuff that we had to rent just for the one-off event. That was our first live band. It was also our first event that had 4 different photographers from local media and everything. Absolute insanity, which that event, I never, ever could have imagined that this would ever happen for a free play. Which it featured Christelle prominently in multiple photos. D Magazine comes out and does a photo spread on a nerdy arcade party. I mean, it was so cool. It was nothing we could ever expect, but it was so neat when it happened. So Christelle, tell me what it's like being in D Magazine 16 times.
Woo. It did. It was unexpected. I just kept getting, my inbox kept blowing up with people sending me more pictures and more pictures and more pictures of me and Sarah, and here's me and somebody else texting. And
well, that was what was amazing. Every time, they got your couple of close-up shots, and I think most of us got our close-up shots or something. And then every single crowd shot, you're somehow right in the middle on your phone.
I don't know how I found it all.
Coordinating with a community group or something.
That was what I was doing. Correct.
Where are you? Oh no, there's a cameraman here right now. And then
Can you
look
give me
up
tickets
right at
to
the
this
camera.
event? No, it's sold out.
Well, yeah, that was our very last hard sellout.
Yep.
Because we learned an important lesson that night, which was you should always reserve a couple tickets for the door. And we do that now. They're always more expensive than all the other tickets. But if you show up at the door for any of our events, and I'm completely comfortable letting everyone know this, if you show up a little late without a ticket at one of our events, we will let you in. It'll just cost you more money than it costs anyone else inside.
That is true.
Because it was, that is how we balance it. We always have a few no-shows. We keep track of the no-shows as we go, and we're willing to resell those tickets, and we're willing to deal with the because anyone who shows up and they hear, oh my gosh, it's a ticketed party, I don't have a ticket, they're going to be pretty upset at the outset.
Oh, absolutely.
So bending some of our rules, bending some of our policies to get them in makes them happy, and as long as we're able to, charge them a little bit, it all works out. And I think that was this is a really important lesson that I learned as a businessman hosting events, because we kept having these hard sellouts. We kept selling out far beyond our numbers. But I think it's really awesome when you show up, they're doing an event, but they still have some tickets left. So this is probably going to be a podcast exclusive. I'll never post about this. I'll never talk about it. But if you show up at one of our events without a ticket, we will probably find a way to get you in.
Oh, yes.
Because it's much better than turning you away. You're going to be grumpy. You're going to hate the experience. You've already driven out. It's going to be terrible.
Even though we put up information about all of our events that were closed to the public in advance, we put them on the website. We post them on Facebook. We try and get the word out as best we can, but there are always people who walk up at our events and say, hey, what's going on here tonight? And we're like, oh,
the stories we've heard from people who haven't had tickets.
I drove from Oklahoma to come.
All of a sudden, they're from they're from Nebraska, they're from Maine, they drove from Alaska. They took they were on a plane for 12 hours from Japan just to come to Free Play that night. So now we have a way to get them in. But that was when we kind of changed that policy because
absolutely.
We had kind of undersold our 1 year party. Well, we didn't realize when we moved all the tables out, we'd have so much space.
Right.
So we'd only sold like 130, 120. I don't even remember.
Well, and I think that was the night that we had there was a small group that came and they wanted to have a birthday party there that night, but they hadn't emailed us, they hadn't talked to us at all, they just showed up. And we were like, we're actually having a private party, and they're like, we've got like 12 people who are supposed to be meeting us here. We were like, oh gosh, I mean, we can get you tickets, but
well, before that,
we don't have
our
tables.
policy was, sorry, no. And then that time we were like, all right, we have a few tickets, we can get you in, it's gonna be awesome.
Right.
And that's what's really amazing is most of the time the people that come there have never been to a Free Play party.
Right.
So they're blown away by how much trouble we've gone through to throw an amazing party.
Well, we really try to make your ticket worthwhile. We actually probably way overspend.
Oh, absolutely.
The amount that we're charging for the tickets, I mean, all of that extra money is going to the party, and then we're throwing a bunch of money on top of that just because it's all about creating the perfect party vibe.
Well, and it's important too because we're not going to have as many open games as maybe a normal night because we've sold out the entire venue. So as long as we have other stuff going on, we have all these cool things happening around you. Not only are you entertained when you get to go play the games, you're entertained when the live music is playing, the DJ is playing, there's the horror montage on the screen, there's a special programmed music video montage. Whatever's going on, you kind of are distracted, so you're not angry or irritated that every single game in the place is being taken up because we're at a sellout event.
Well, that particular event was my favorite as a customer.
The 1 year?
And yes, and not. It was later that I was featured in D Magazine.
Yeah,
I had no idea. I was
because you were a
stunned by
model
that.
now in D Magazine, and we were all excited about it.
But calling Jack Burton, their performance was spot on. You had a little area for dancing. Sarah was going crazy. I was dancing with her until Julie stole my date, and then I was playing games, and calling Jack Burton is playing the music that you play in Free Play normally. So I have come to associate those 80s, songs, not just with the 80s, but with Free Play itself and with playing all these awesome classic games. So, now I'm dancing with Sarah Little, and then I go, and now I'm playing all these classic games, but there is a live performance of all the songs, and it is just so fun and surreal. It was my most fun as a customer during an event at Free Play.
No, that was one of the things I wanted to reserve was for especially me and Richard or some of the other employees that have been there forever, a little bit of time to go play games. And it was so surreal hearing the music we normally play, but out of a live band while I was playing the games. Like, you'd sit there and you'd look over the game and there it is, a band playing them. It was just unbelievable, and they nailed every song. They were really, really good.
Yes.
Total pros.
Oh, absolutely fantastic.
And then, it was nice being in D Magazine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right, so shortly
Wait. You had a really, really nice Miami Vice suit.
It was...
That was also a highlight of that night.
In my defense, it was more of a white sport coat.
Nice.
I don't care. It looked fantastic on you.
I did give us a little speech.
Yes.
It's been recorded and viewed more times than it should on the internet. It was... most of the photos that I have are me chugging a full champagne bottle.
I think that's your Facebook profile picture now, right?
Well,
now?
listen, the one when it was closer to empty, I thought was more appropriate. But yeah, you can track my night by how close I am to finishing the full champagne bottle that I started with. And then, the photo I like the most is about at the end. Because we had our own photographer, all the media photographers, and then the D Magazine photographer who was just, insisted on getting 300 or 400 quality shots. And so I think he stayed there even after hours, still it was amazing. And we thought, geez, this little arcade it's something.
Right.
And it was really nice of them to send it out for our 1 year. It's nice for all the media people to come out. I mean, all the people that had supported us forever were there. It was so cool.
Wow. Just bring back the sport jacket. We're happy.
I should probably wear it. As the president and CEO of this entity, I should probably wear a white sport coat at all times.
Yes, with jeans. Yes.
That is what I did.
Yes.
So, all right. That was our 1 year party. We'd been open for a year.
Epic party.
We'd thrown some events. We'd thrown some really, really cool parties. And then we had New Year's 2016. This was our first repeat party since we'd been open. We had a grand opening, but that wasn't really anything. And then we had our 1 year party. We had already had a New Year's party. It was well reviewed. We had media out. Everyone thought it was really cool. We had to go beyond. And maybe I pushed us too far.
Okay, so by this point, Free Play was already a party destination. Like, we had no idea the reception we were going to receive our first New Year's party. But we knew this year, we had done several parties, we knew it was going to be an event that people were specifically going to come out for. So we wanted to make it special. And we planned a lot of unusual things to try and make it special.
So the whole concept, the whole theme behind New Year's 2016, and I was so excited about it because it's one of our major songs. We have 99 red balloons, right? Or 99 Luftballons. For the New Year's 2016, we had 999 red balloons, which we had a balloon drop scheduled at midnight with approximately 1,000 red balloons. Approximately 999 red balloons. With the music video to come on at midnight, play the original 99 Luftballons as all the balloons fell in our crowd. It was amazing, and it was planned very well, and it kind of worked.
Well,
we'll get to that in a second, right? So first, we had the amazing music videos back. We had the montage, the 1986 Dick Clark New Year's Eve with some restraint. I didn't have anyone hack into the countdown.
Well, by that point, everyone was expecting.
Yeah, they all thought it was going to happen. It didn't. We just had the real 1986 countdown. We were super into it. We had awesome drink specials. I think we had a couple extra games.
Yeah, we had some special games. I don't remember what we brought to the floor for that.
Well,
and then
I know
we did the
we didn't
photo
talk
experience.
about it. Oh, that was it. We had at the front of our arcade, we had a photo experience, which was a cutout of a 1984 photo of these 3 muscle-bound dudes in their neon shirts and neon shorts, all holding a muscle-bound chick, right?
Yep.
And so we had the faces cut out of the chick and the 3 dudes holding her. And I
can't imagine what that might look like.
right.
It's hanging up on the.
Y'all can't see it on the podcast, but it's just over there. And we actually
We save everything, by the way.
I was super insistent on, if someone comes all by themselves, they don't have anyone with them, they need to be able to take a photo with this photo booth. And so we made the 3 dudes' faces replaceable. You could put the face in, or you could pull it out. So you could do 1, 2, 3, or 4 people in the photo. And which was really great because most people just chose to be the girl and stick their face through and take the photo.
If you were by yourself, you had to be the girl, though.
Right. Well, and we had, I think, like 2 hours before, we had to buy all these extra lights to try to get enough lighting because it was going to be pretty dark.
I forgot about that.
It was going to be a dark party, and we were using a little Polaroid-style camera so that we could hand them their photo.
That was really successful, though. I mean, we went around the party, and the entire night we had one of those. What are they? The Instax? Is that
something? Yeah.
So we decided, let's do this. Let's give everyone a souvenir. So we'd go around, take pictures of people as they're drinking, as they're partying, having a good time, give them a photograph that they can hold in their hand and watch it develop in front of their eyes, which most people haven't seen a real Polaroid in years.
Right.
So it was a fantastic, nostalgic experience for them.
That was after our little photo booth thing. You walked around taking photos of people.
Absolutely.
I think I sent an employee to walk with you. Y'all were like handing them out. It was like this full-on, really cool experience before we got to 999 red balloons. So Dick Clark went on the screen.
Oh, yes.
Did the countdown. Everyone was really in a good mood. It was an amazing party. And before this year, we had to close at midnight.
Oh, yes.
So midnight was when we had to stop alcohol service. So that was last call, too. So just before the countdown, it's last call. Everyone's getting their last drink. And they're going to have to kind of file out. We could stay open a little bit, but we couldn't serve any more alcohol, no more food. So most people kind of filtered quickly out. So we have the countdown. Everyone has their last drink. and there's a huge tunnel of balloons. And it turns out 1,000 balloons is a lot of balloons.
It's a lot of balloons, but we weren't sure that this, we'd never used a balloon drop before. So we had ordered this thing, and we had no idea how big it was actually going to be.
Well, and in true Corey fashion, I bought the biggest, that we thought could possibly fit in our place.
We needed 999 red balloons. So we got all of those. We filled them up in garbage bags. We get everything hung from the ceiling, and we have the problem that it hangs down, and you can hit your head on it. It is way too low.
We have a 10 or 12 foot ceiling, but the weight of the balloons kind of caused this huge tube of 1,000 balloons to sag a little bit. And so if you were a tall person, 6 foot, 6'2", you could very easily touch it, and you might bump your head on the top of the balloons, which meant they're not going to drop very far. This isn't going to be one of those really, really cinematic balloon drops. It's going to just hit you right in the head and then smother you in 999 red balloons.
So 1 hour before we open, we've got all of this rigged. We're putting it together for the first time. We are okay, this is going to be way too low. So we have some extra rope in the back, and we just end up tying these points up. No, I went and bought
rope.
You bought rope.
I bought rope with the lights for the little photo booth. So I went and bought random rope that we used to cinch it up.
Well, we were able to cinch it up. We got it up to something like 8 feet off the ground. You could barely touch it if you were really trying.
Which still, of course, means it's going to drop 2 feet before it hits the people. So, though it was off the ground, it was and it was huge.
It was massive.
It spanned half the
22
arcade,
feet or something.
It was gargantuan. But we got it up there.
We got it up.
No one was going to ruin it because turns out, on a balloon drop, there's this huge long string that you have to pull that undoes the thing and it drops all the balloons. So we'd done all the other events. We got to the countdown. It starts counting down. I know Richard's there holding the string,
We've untied everything,
ready to run with the string. We pull the string. It all drops its 2 feet. It's really cool because it had, we had 100 or 200 people standing right under that balloon drop, and they disappeared.
It was epic looking. I think that there's a video online.
There's a few videos, yeah.
So I wasn't able to attend that. I had a party that day long scheduled, so I couldn't do it. Yes. But as the leader of the community group, even back then, I put a significant bounty on video of that moment. So we have 7 different versions of the video of the drop. It was live streamed. The sound of the explosions right afterwards.
Well, so that's what we get to.
That's the key point.
It all drops, everyone disappears, and then it starts. It's a machine gun popping experience, and we've got 99 red balloons at the absolute maximum volume that our system can play at the time, turned all the way up, and people start stepping on these balloons.
Well, and I think it becomes an expectation versus reality. So we all expect the balloons are going to fall. People are going to be hitting them in the air. They're going to go everywhere, fill the entire arcade. It's going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. The actual happening was
everyone just steps on them. They just start stepping on the balloons. And it keeps going for about 6 minutes. And now everyone's having a great time. Everyone's dancing around, jumping on the red balloons. But they are loud. You don't even hear another sound out of our speakers until they're halfway done with We Are the World. Which is our New Year's song. But yeah, they're halfway done with We Are the World, and everyone is finally done jumping on the balloons. And then we went and we gave all of our employees poppers and stuff, and they all start chasing our patrons around. It was because we were closed technically. Yeah. And so it was, but
it's a good day for Mike, who is afraid of balloons.
He worked.
Sure, this helped.
He worked until about 2 a.m. There were a lot of balloon poppings, but again, media came out. We had photographers there taking photos from all major magazines. It was, just really, really cool. So that's what we're trying to capture again this year, but now we have 2 locations. So we've got Halloween coming up, 2 different parties back to back. We're going to have roaming performers. We haven't actually figured out exactly which performers are going to go to which location, but Street Magic, sideshow acts, we'll make Richard do something. I don't know what's going to happen.
If you can't find anyone else, I will do something. Former sideshow artist.
What's really great is we went live about 5 hours ago with the events. Arlington is borderline sold out.
Wow.
We've sold many more tickets we had. Now Arlington is a big space, so hopefully once the price goes up, it'll slow down. But yeah, we could very well sell out early next week in Arlington. Same with Richardson. The secret's out. Our events are insane, and we're not holding back at all. We've got super awesome secrets that we're holding back for this year's Halloween parties.
Well, and if you miss one party, if you can't get tickets to the Arlington party or the Richardson party, try the other venue or buy tickets for both. I mean, come to 2 epic parties.
That's a good point, because I build all the montages and everything. I'm going to customize the montage for each location. The shows are going to be different. The performers are going to be different. The decor, which, I mean, we kind of got into, but if we have an extra $1, we're going to buy an oversized spider with it. We love Halloween decorations, and we're going to go insane at both locations this year. It's going to be just absolutely crazy. If you go to one Halloween party, I can safely say you should go to one of the free play Halloween parties.
Absolutely.
And this is it. This is the start of party season. We're going to jump into it. We've got to do something for Richardson's 2-year. We've got to do something for New Year's, which is going to be the very first time we have back-to-back Halloween parties. Mm-hmm. New Year's is going to be simultaneous parties. We haven't figured it out yet. We're still working to it. We haven't made our big announcements. All I know is we're going to be able to live stream both of them to each other. So as the countdown goes, with minimal latency, we're going to see each side counting down. Will there be 1,000 red balloons? Probably not. That was okay. That worked okay, but
2,000.
So this time we're gonna
Arlington's bigger.
We're gonna have like 10 batches of 500 balloons, so that we can have 5,000 balloons. So that's about it. I mean, that's where we're at.
The price of red balloons in the state would just spike overnight.
Well, what you got to really worry about is the price of the air you're breathing in for the balloons. We're gonna run out of air after we fill up all the balloons for the house.
Julie can make more.
Yeah, Julie, who will probably watch this at some point. She did about, I don't know, 1,400, 1,200 of the balloons. We only did 1,000. So like 600.
Yeah, she did like 600, and then I took the rest home and
knocked out the rest. Yeah,
it only takes about 2 hours to blow up 400 balloons.
Our parties are basically a 48-hour just extravaganza where we just keep going and try to throw the best party that we can imagine. So yeah, this is party season. I'm super excited to be in it. Awesome to hear like the experiences as a customer versus now you get to work the events. You haven't really worked any big ticketed events since you've come on, right? The grand opening party at Arlington, which was that was a grand opening party. It's everyone getting to know each other. We don't get to really dig into those Halloween or New Year's parties. So.
Well, yes, still training staff, making sure that everything is working the way that we want it to.
Right, and so this Halloween party for Arlington is its first huge major test.
Yeah,
and Chris gets to work a ticketed party for the first time.
Yeah,
and then the next night.
Then the next night he gets to work the second ticketed party. It's going to be crazy.
No, my costume is here. I'm ready to go.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
Find out.
Surprise.
How skimpy this is going to get.
I will not violate any nudity standards we have as a company.
Listen, that's a health code thing. That's not.
I understand.
That's not me being a prude. That's just it's illegal. You gotta calm down. All right. So from the warehouse, from the AC capital of the world, we are the Free Play Podcast. This is the end of episode number 6. We're talking events, and we'll be back to you soon.